Well, first of all, congratulations, you reached to the last module of this particular course. And let me tell you one thing, guys, this module is the most important one to understand as a concept. Okay, we know that we have Azure Synapse Service, Databricks Service, Data Factory Service, and so many more. But now it's the time to understand the concept behind all this data engineering things. And that's where we have topics like data warehouse, Delta Lake, and all those things. Let's focus on data warehouse. Now, if I focus on the definition first, if someone simply asks me that what is a data warehouse? I will say that a data warehouse is a type of data management system that is designed to enable and support business intelligence activities, especially analytics. And that's what we have seen when we deal with Azure Synapse, when we deal with Databricks, and if I try to implement data warehouse or lakehouse kind of things, we mostly focus on data analytics and business intelligence. A data warehouse is also having certain kind of architectures associated with that. And these architectures are going to help you to design the right approach for your projects, the right approach for data analytics kind of things. A data warehouse architecture is a method of defining the overall architecture of data communication, processing, and presentation that exists for the end clients computing within the enterprise. This is something which is the architecture definition. Now, cutting the long story into short, I want you to focus on certain data warehouse architectures which are really important for you to understand as a data engineer. The first one which I want to focus here is there are two approaches first. If you're designing your data warehouse, you have to follow one of the approach. The first approach is something which is known as top-down approach, and the other one is known as bottom-up approach. As you can see here, the first thing which I'm showing you right now is the top-down approach for the architecturing Azure Data Warehouse or any other data warehouse associated with this. In the left side, we have external resources like S1, S2, S3. These external resources are going to be nothing but the data stores where I have data stored inside that. Or it can be some kind of a data generators also where streaming data will be provided into that. The data from external sources are going to be gathered into a staging area, which is nothing but my ETL, my extract, transform, load kind of pipelines. You can relate this particular ETL section with Azure Data Factory or maybe Synapse pipeline kind of things where you're doing all your ETL jobs. Once your ETL jobs are performed, the prepared data is going to be stored into the data warehouse. That data warehouse can be your dedicated SQL pool or maybe your Databricks where you're going to store the data permanently. Once you have this kind of data warehouse, we are going to apply some more analytical processing on that data. We want to write queries. We want to make sure that the data is going to be in a much more organized way, focusing on the business functionalities and all. And that's where we are going to use the data which is stored inside data warehouse, and we are going to create a data marts from that. If you ask me what is a data mart, I will say the data mart is something which is very much focused on particular business functionality. So if you take a piece of the data and if you ask someone what is the purpose of this particular data, that should be focusing on one business perspective. And that functionality or perspective which is focusing on the data is going to make sure that this is going to be one data mart. This kind of multiple meaningful data marts are going to be created from your data warehouse, which will be further associated with your data mining tools, like maybe you want to associate this with machine learning, AI, Power BI, or maybe something else. This full end-to-end approach of designing your data warehouse is something which is known as top-down approach. Now the question is why this is known as top-down approach, because in this case data marts are created from data warehouse. The terms which I'm showing you here are also explained in the simpler words in this particular slide. So you can pause the video and you can go through these terms. This is exactly what I have explained in the previous one. And these 5 parts are actually creating my top-down approach of my data warehouse. What I want to focus right now is there are some advantages and disadvantages of this top-down approach. The advantages are like this, that because the data marts are created from data warehouse, this provides a consistent dimensional view of my data marts. It's a better way to create a data marts actually. Also, this model is considered as the strongest model for business changes. That's one of the reasons most big organizations always prefer top-down approach, and that's the reason I'm showing you this one first. And creating data marts from data warehouse is comparatively easy. I'll show you the other way around also, but yeah, this is something which is an easier way and something which is more stronger and better way to do this thing. What is the disadvantage of top-down approach? Well, the cost and the time taken by designing this thing is very high. I mean, obviously you need skilled people to design this kind of structure. You need people who should be familiar with ETL jobs and some integrations with data warehousing, data mart configuration and all this. It's a time consuming and costly job process, but yeah, it's going to be more robust and it's going to be more trustworthy way to design your data warehouse. Hey guys, sorry for interruption. My name is Maruti and I'm here to make a very important announcement. I hope you are liking our videos and you're doing a continuous learning with us on an Azure Cloud and AI related topics. If you are enjoying this thing, I'm going to announce skilltech.club, which is our upcoming website, which is going to be launched very soon. We are here to tell you one thing, that everyone who is a subscriber of this particular channel will get Azure Cloud and Azure AI related certification courses free of cost in skilltech.club. So you will be a part of the skilltech.club kind of a membership automatically free of cost. And everyone who's a subscriber of this particular channel will get those benefits which are available in that. So what are you waiting for? I request you to please subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends and families if they are also interested in Azure Cloud and AI learning. That's it from my side. Now you can carry on with your learning. Thank you. Now what is the other way around? Well, the other way around is known as bottom-up approach, and if you compare this bottom-up approach with the previous one, you can see that the left side part is same. We have external data sources which are gathered into the staging area, which is ETL. But now after that ETL, actually the flow is actually getting changed. In this case, from those ETL jobs only, you are going to create your data marts. And then further, the data marts are going to be permanently stored inside the data warehouse. Now, in this case, data marts are actually in between your ETL and data warehouse, and that is something which is this bottom-up approach, because in this case, data marts are created much earlier. Even before going into the data warehouse, it is actually created, and then it is going to be stored inside data warehouse, which will be further used in data mining. This one small change in this architectural diagram is going to make a big difference actually. In this case, first of all, this flow is actually very much similar. As I said, only one part is getting changed, and that is this, that the data which is going through the staging area is then loaded into the data marts instead of data warehouse. So in this case, data marts are created first, and it provides reporting capabilities in a much better way. And it's also going to address a single business area, because data marts are always going to be focusing on single business area kind of data. Now, when we are dealing with this thing, what are the advantages and disadvantages for this bottom-up approach? Well, as the data marts are created first, so the reports are going to be quickly generated compared to the previous one. This is going to give me reports in a much early stage of this particular processing. We can accommodate more number of data marts here, and in this way data warehouse can be extended. Most of the time the data which is stored inside the data warehouse is always going to be extended in the bottom-up approach. Also, the cost and the time taken in the designing this model is comparatively low compared to the first one, obviously. What is the disadvantage of bottom-up approach? Well, this model is not stronger as top-down approach, and the dimensional view of the data mart is not consistent. Because we are generating data marts in a much early stage, there are chances you have to do modifications, you have to do changes in that based on the business capabilities. Maybe you have to change certain things inside there again and again. And that's one of the reasons this is not preferable one for the big organizations. Yeah, for small kind of projects and for small kind of amount of data, you can go with this kind of approach, but it's not something which is very, very advisable. These two approaches, top-down approach and bottom-up approach, are most of the time going to be a very important concept for every data engineer, because when they design the data warehousing kind of architecture with Synapse or with Databricks or whichever other options which they are choosing, and they have to make sure that the data marts are also going to be prepared based on the one of the approach actually. That's it for this video. I hope you understood this concept. Thank you.